Hello everyone and welcome to my course. This course is about research presentation guidelines and I'll be your teacher, Tam Young. I have at least 15 years of experience of teaching presentations. So I hope my experience and knowledge is useful for you when you want to convert a research paper into a 10-minute presentation. The reason why this is going to be 10 minutes is because we want to convey the most amount of information in the smallest amount of time in order to have a good example of a presentation. You can expand the topics that you use in this presentation and you can make this presentation any length you would like. Okay, now let's get stuck into the presentation. Here we go. Okay, so these are research presentation guidelines because you're conveying your research. You're taking your thesis and you're converting it into a presentation. Let's go over to slide 2. Okay, in slide 2, I'm going to talk about the details of the presentation. Here we go. This presentation is going to be a 10-minute oral scientific presentation. Included is a title, an introduction, methods and materials, results and discussions, acknowledgements, questions and answer period is going to take place at the end of the presentation. This presentation guide is going to take approximately an hour and a half. But there'll be breaks at the interval of 10 minutes for every video. So you can stop this video at any time, or you can watch this video for 10 minutes, take some notes, take a break, and then watch the next one. Okay, now let's move on to our third slide. Okay, so this third slide is the title of our presentation. It includes a subject and location, a period in the title, and your name, your connection, and relevant logos. So when you create a title, you want to create a title that includes the subject and location. So for example, the subject could be mountaineering, and then the location could be Nagoya, Japan, and the period would be 2023. Your name, so your full name, for example, my name is Tam Young, so I'd write Tam Young, just like here, Tam Young. Here we go. Then your connection. So what's your connection to this presentation? Are you the writer of the presentation? Are you the author of this presentation? Are you the presenter only of this presentation? What's your connection to this presentation? And then relevant logos. So the meaning of relevant logos means, for example, if you're connected to a university, your university usually has a logo that is connected to that university. If you're connected to an organization, usually you have a logo that's connected to your organization. This is usually put during the title slide of your presentation. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next slide, which is the example. Let's take a look. Here we go. So we have an example of title. Evaluating modular education in higher education and creating a modular education framework and forecasting its use in education. Tam Young, the presenter, that's me. TEFL, PhD, okay. So that's my credentials, my name, And Science and Research Division, that's the division that I'm working at in Japan. University name, Nagoya Institute of Technology. And then program title is Education. Name advisor, Dr. Sato. 8th of July, 2022. Okay, that's basically the good example of a presentation. Maybe if we had logos, we'd put it here. We don't have any logos for this presentation, so we're using just something else to make it more creative. And then we have behind it a picture that is not completely visible, just to add some flavor to our title. We want something that pops, something that's easy to read and easy to see. So we need some color behind it. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is the first slide. Slide number 1 is your title. Now we're moving on to slide number 2. What is slide number 2? Let's take a look. Slide number 2 is your introduction. So your introduction should give the viewer or the listener an idea of the following. First, number 1, to provide a background on topics. What are the topic areas that you're investigating? So you should give at least 3 clear topic areas that you're investigating in this study. 3 is a good number because it's clear and people can understand it. Okay, next is number 2. Number 2, cite with supporting literature. What are the specific research questions that you set out to answer? In every research topic, there's usually a question that you're setting out to answer because you're setting out to resolve a problem. Maybe you're looking for a different way to do something. For example, I'll give you an example. Light bulb, for example, before they invented LEDs, the question could have been, how do we create a light bulb that is more efficient and emits more light but less heat? That could be the research topic for LEDs. Okay, next, moving on to number 3, establish the need for your research. So why is this question important to answer? So again, using the same example for LEDs, we can answer that this topic is important because it will save hundreds of thousands of kilowatts per hour globally if everybody switched over to using LEDs instead of regular electric lights. So that would be an answer to why the question is important to answer. Your research may be very different, so therefore your answer is going to be very different. Okay, move on to number 4. Goals and objectives of the thesis. What were the objectives of your research? So the objectives could have been to develop LED lights, but maybe that was clear, but you need to go into detail of the details of the objectives. Maybe in order to create LED lights, we need certain types of polishing and certain types of laser settings. There's a lot of information that needs to be put out to go clearly about the goals of the objectives of the thesis. Okay, now we're going to move on to our third. So this is the second. This is introducing your topics. The introduction should give the viewer or listener idea of these things. So we're not going into great detail about these, but we're going into a little bit enough detail to whet the appetite of the audience and get them excited about your topic. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. But before we do, we're going to finish this video And then in the next video, we're going to look at this slide, which is the research question. So if you want to learn about the research question, please move on to the next video. Thank you for watching.